Hello, hello, everyone. My name is Evan Freiberger. Hopefully, everybody is doing all right today. We got some things to talk about today in terms of our winter weather. It's kind of ongoing right now for parts of Kentucky, going up into Virginia and West Virginia as well, trying to make its way into New Jersey and southern Pennsylvania. We also have another storm behind that that's going to be coming up here into the kind of Ozarks, northern Ozarks, going into the Great Lakes and parts of the Ohio Valley. We're going to be talking about both of these storms and their potential for some severe weather as well down the pipe. But I hope everybody is having a good day so far. I have been having a rather relaxing day, but I'm starting to get hungry. I've been waiting on my freshly order or my Hello Fresh order, and it still hasn't come in, and I haven't bought any groceries, so I'm just waiting for that to come in. Hopefully that comes in while I'm doing this live stream. But let's see who all we have. Hello, Aaliyah. Teresa, hello. Tornado Explorer, hi. BB Hong, hello. And hello, Legend Thanos, hello. Just got done moderating. Who were you moderating for, Sanja? The day is all right. You guys having a good day? By the way, where is everybody tuning in from? Tornado was reported in Pensacola, Florida. Sent the report in the reporter group. Really? I have to go check in on that. The view of the Copter Road near Parent Tornado moved through. Oh, wow. Yeah. It appears like there was a tornado near Pensacola, Florida. Hold on. When did this come out? 4:51. That's like 10 minutes ago. Hold on, let me come down here and check in on this. Apparently, we've got tornado activity. Oh, wow. And here's another area where there is some decent rotation there south of Summerdale. This is here in southern Alabama. That's going to be traveling off to the north and east. No debris signature with that, but certainly need to keep an eye on some of these storms. They seem to be rotating a little bit. It seems like it would have either been this storm here or maybe this storm. Given the fact that it was about 10 minutes ago, it might have been this one. But yeah, we have a couple areas of rotation, surprisingly enough, here in southern Alabama, here also into parts of Florida. Parts of Florida. We might actually be able to get a view on that. Hold on. I know I'm supposed to be doing a forecast, but I do need to investigate this just a little bit here. Just give me a second. There is a tornado risk, I'm pretty sure, in this area. Or might be behind it, actually. They issued it today. Yeah, it's kind of, these storms are kind of out in front of where that tornado risk would be. So this is definitely an unexpected event that's happening down here in southern Alabama and parts of northwestern Florida there in the Panhandle. Yeah, go ahead and get some camera view. See if we can catch any of these storms while they're trying to do something here. 1 second. If you're here for a forecast, don't worry. We're going to be getting to that in just a second. We just kind of got, I guess it's just the timing thing. Our live stream here is kind of timed interestingly here with a little bit of a surprise tornado potential. We just had a report near Pensacola of a tornado that was on the ground. I can actually retweet it, and I'll also post that into the chat as well. How's the trend look for the mid-Atlantic, especially for Baltimore and Maryland? Seems like we might be getting a little bit more mixed precip than expected. But over there near Baltimore, I think the trend is still pretty good up there. The trend has mostly changed for the Central Plains and up into the Great Lakes region. Yeah, we do have cams in this area, but none of them are looking at the sky at this moment. This one is. There are some storms in this area. If you're just now tuning in, just had a tornado report just happen right before I went on air. And we have actually a decent little area of rotation here. I'm actually surprised that this is not tornado warned here south of Summerdale, especially given the fact that we just had potentially this storm over here or either this storm over near Milton just produced a tornado moments ago. So if you live in Pensacola and Crestview, you need to be watching out for a little bit of a sneaky tornado threat. I do want to check in this storm north of Crestview. Yeah, this one also has a little bit of rotation. Almost every single one of these kind of honestly very small and compact storms down here do have some rotation. Here's a damage report. Multiple reports of damage in the Ferry Pass area with roofs ripped off of buildings and power lines knocked down. Possible tornado. So that would have been up there in northeastern Pensacola. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, that would have been this storm earlier. It's kind of lifting off to the north and east. So that was the storm in question that just produced a tornado. We got more back here that are rotating as well, like this one over here near Balua. It's about to cross over Highway 10. Pretty much right on that notch there. Let me come back over to here. We have to keep a close eye on these storms. I don't like to see, and as I'm sure you guys don't like to see either, surprise tornado threats. This might be in the path here of this storm that's about to cross over. I want to keep an eye on that. But yeah, our camera is located up in this area. There's a little area of rotation. I just want to monitor that as it crosses over the road for a little bit. And then south and east of Summerdale, still watching this area of rotation. It's not as strong as it was. So I think we might have a little bit of time here. But help, I'm going to ask you to keep an eye on those storms, just in case they do, start to rotate. Keep an eye on those correlation coefficients. And I'll be trying to keep my eye on the chat enough to be able to go and check those out really quick. But this is supposed to be a forecast stream, so we're gonna get ahead and go move on with that. But yeah, that's very interesting down there. I might stay on for a little bit to monitor those storms if there's still a problem by the time I end the forecast. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it here. We're gonna go over to our national radar and kind of go over what's currently happening. One thing but we already kind of know we've got a little bit of an elevated tornado threat down here in parts of Florida and southern Alabama. Can be keeping an eye on that. A lot of rain has been falling over into the southeast, down into Texas as well. But the heaviest and kind of most annoying rain, in my opinion, because I've been in the rain all day today, has been going into northern Louisiana, most of Mississippi, also northern Alabama, also pushing into parts of Tennessee and southern Kentucky. We've been getting some mixed reports out here. Some of this is sleet, some of it is snow, some of it is haven't seen many freezing rain reports in this area, so I don't think we're dealing with freezing rain too widespread out here. There could be some pockets of it here into Southern Virginia, but you can see that our winter storm, first little winter storm, is still ongoing out here. And pretty much as soon as this one comes out of our hair, we're going to be switching our attention back over to here. But you can see as I zoom out, we have winter storm warnings and also winter storm advisories out for a large area here of the United States. If we come back down over to here, you can see that we have Baltimore, Washington, Dover, Georgetown, Salisbury, Richmond, Harrisonburg, Roanoke, Charleston, and also Parkersburg, all in winter storm warnings right now, with winter storm advisories really spreading from northern Kentucky going all the way up into the northeast. Also, parts of northern North Carolina are in some winter storm advisories, winter weather advisories. Those are mainly going to be due to some freezing rain, potential maybe some sleet. Let's go and check into it. I don't think we're expecting much accumulation. Yeah, light glaze. So that's essentially talking about the potential there for some freezing rain there in northern North Carolina. Back over to here where we're going to be expecting another winter storm to kind of form here in a little bit. We're talking about a pretty decent area of some winter storm warnings, but you can see that they kind of stop as they move up to the north and east, and there's a reason for that. And we're going to be talking about that more in detail with the new trend that we have had on some of our models. They've been certainly changing quite a bit, actually, overnight and into the morning hours. And so we're going to be talking about that today. But if you live anywhere here into Kansas, like Manhattan, Lincoln, west of Manhattan, Kansas City, moving up into northern Missouri and southern Iowa, Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Davenport, also Chillicothe, Kirksville, Moberly, Hannibal, Quincy, Macomb, Canton, Peoria there as well. As far north as Dubuque here into parts of Iowa and even parts of Wisconsin are in a winter storm warning as well, with those advisories extending into the northern portion of Texas, northern portion and western portion of Oklahoma City, going into central Missouri. This is mainly going to be for icing, central Illinois, central Indiana all the way up there to northern Indiana, and then a decent portion here of Michigan is either in a winter storm advisory or a winter storm watch here in the blue, and that's kind of what we got going on right now. And that's mainly due to the kind of batch here of the some winter storms that we're going to have over the next 2 to 3 days. So let's go ahead and turn off these weather alerts and to kind of break down what we're going to be expecting for not only the snow to come, but also for our severe weather, because we have had some changes here. So let me take off these weather alerts so we can see the map a little bit better, and then we'll come over here to the NAM 3K model and check out what our latest information. Actually, we're going to go over to our HRRR because that's going to also give us hopefully a little bit of a better understanding of what's. Oh no, really? Okay, well we can't look at the HRRR because Radar Omega for some reason hasn't loaded it in, even though that model run came out a long time ago. That's disappointing. Let me bring up the HRRR actually on my other model website here, because I definitely want to use that for my forecast here initially. Okay, we'll do this, and then let me bring this up and take this off. Perfect. Okay. Sorry about that. So we'll come over to here, HRRR. That, and we'll start off with our simulated radar here, simulated radar, and then we will bring it to the latest cycle, full cycle here. And yeah, unfortunately, we can't really like zoom in at different cities and different levels, unfortunately. But this is going to give us a little bit of an understanding here of what to expect. So as you can see, here is the United States. We have our snowstorm. This is our first snowstorm that we are all familiar with. And throughout the day, the snow should hang on there for Northern Virginia, going into West Virginia, also Southern Illinois, Indiana, Southern Ohio, Northern Kentucky should stay in the snow for a little bit longer here as we move throughout the day. 4 p.m. here, we have still some more snow. Going to be watching out for that chance for tornadoes still down there near the Panhandle. As long as those storms are alive and well, they're going to have that little tiny chance for some tornadoes there. So we're keeping an eye on that. A lot of rain is going to be continuing here as well as we go throughout the day. Is this 48 hours? It is not. It's supposed to be the 18Z. Hold on. Oh, I picked the wrong parameter there. Just the regular simulated radar. That will help. Okay. But yeah, and so that's going to continue up there into those areas. Really, it's not going to really change too much. The main thing that we're going to see change is a lot of this rain turn into freezing rain into some of these higher elevations, and the snow is going to continue to fall up there in the northern portion of the United States, there near Virginia, also West Virginia, and eventually this is going to move out of our hair. We really don't have too many significant changes here, except it really does seem like that snow line is a little bit further north. Which was still, kind of a possibility. We've been looking and comparing and contrasting models, and we kind of already know that is a possibility. But it really does seem like that snow is going to hang on mainly there in northern Virginia, where that's probably where we're going to see some of our higher accumulations. Also for areas like Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey, before this thing really moves out of our hair, and then we start to see our next storm system start to pull in here. And this one is, I'm going to be honest with you guys, is downtrended quite significantly over the nighttime hours. But we're also going to be watching out for some severe weather further down to the south as well. You can see we got a lot of reds happening over there into Louisiana. I really, really wish that Radar Omega was up here, because I can give such a better forecast here using the HRRR. Let me see if it's just a glitch and I can actually still just load it through. No, why isn't it loaded? Oh, that is so annoying. You guys have no idea. I think I'm just going to use the NAM. We'll just use the NAM. It'll give us a good enough depiction. I would love to show you guys the HRRR because I really do. I consider that a better model in terms of showing the convective potential of some storms, but we'll just use the NAM just because it's going to be more helpful. You can see the cities and we can zoom in and all that. So let me just bring up the latest NAM run here. There. Okay, perfect. That'll be good enough. So let's go over to here. So yeah, So yeah, we're going to be expecting thunderstorms further down in the south, and that snow to continue throughout the day. And then after that storm moves out of our hair, should stop snowing sometime at around 2 a.m. for most areas out here. And then we're going to start to see some rain filter in on the backside of the storm with some mixed precip of sleet and freezing rain possible over here into the Ohio Valley, the southern portion of there, going into parts of the east here. And you can see as this storm moves out, throughout the night here, that we're going to be seeing this boundary kind of sink down here to the south. Now, it's going to be really important for our severe weather setup. It's how far this boundary, how far to the south this boundary sets up, and how many little short waves we have moved through here. If we have round after round of rain, it's going to kind of work over the environment. That's going to lower our severe potential. So that's still definitely a possibility where we don't have definite severe weather that's going to happen down here. But we're not expecting that to start until later in the day, going into the 12th. But up here, at around 2 a.m. here on the 12th, we have another low pressure system that's organizing over the Rockies, and it's going to eject off to the north and east into parts of Kansas, also Nebraska, northern Missouri, almost all of Iowa, northern Illinois as well. That's when your snow is going to be starting to get started at around 2 a.m. Up there. So if we come back down a little bit further to the south and look at our surface base cape, oh, hold on, that's a supercell composite. You can see that we don't really have a whole lot of instability down here. Now, that might be a little bit of an underestimation. I think we're going to have a little bit more instability hanging out near the coast, especially since we're already starting to see kind of an unexpected tornado threat. That is a symptom of that we have a little bit more instability than what at least this model is picking up. So, there could be a small chance for severe weather if we can get any storms to mature out here. But as you can see, the model, at least the NAM model, really isn't picking up anything forming down here as we move into 2 a.m. So we're not really expecting that, severe weather threat to really be getting started at this point. But as we push this forward 3 more hours, let's go ahead and do that. You can see that we still have some pretty heavy snow happening over here near Wichita by the time we get into 5 a.m. Kansas City at around 5 a.m. as well. Omaha, Sioux City, Des Moines, Davenport, maybe even Springfield is getting in on a little bit of lighter snow. Over here near Chicago, south of Madison, seeing some lighter to moderate snow. And look at this, pretty much all the way from northern West Virginia through southern Ohio, Indiana, southern Illinois, southern Missouri, and also going pretty close to Oklahoma City and Tulsa. You can see we have some freezing rain happening here. This is going to worsen the driving conditions out there. If you get a little bit of a glaze or even like a tenth of an inch on the roads, you're going to be talking about some significant driving problems. It's going to be dangerous. You slam on those brakes too fast, you could slide around and hurt yourself. So I really want you guys to be careful, especially if you live in these regions that are underneath this pink band as we move into tomorrow morning. So this is going to be pretty much right as you wake up, ready to go to work. Some of these areas are not going to get as much as back over here into Oklahoma. So our most dangerous driving conditions for your morning commute is most likely going to be here in central Oklahoma, where we have a lot heavier freezing rain happening near Oklahoma City and Tulsa. But yeah, so as we move into 5 a.m., you can see that, still some snow is still falling. Pushing this forward 3 more hours, that heaviest snow band starts to move into eastern Kentucky, also most of Missouri, with the exception of southern Missouri, which is now starting to get some of the heavier freezing rain, which is around 8 a.m. here. And you can see most of Iowa is still dealing with some light to moderate snow. So our heaviest snow is going to be mainly isolated wherever this band starts to set up. Hey, thank you, Lady J, for the $20 donation. I do appreciate that very much. What's Rockford, Illinois looking like? I think for Rockford, Illinois, you might have to shave some of their expected snowfall off. So probably less than what you were told yesterday, because like I said, we're getting a downgrade pretty much on all of our models right now. So we're expecting less snow for a lot more people, but we'll tell you where that has shifted around. Some people are still expecting some decent snow, but we have seen some shifts, not in terms of the direction of the storm, but shifts in our trend. All right, our trends are changing, and this is a brand new trend. Yesterday, we were looking at this. I made a forecast at 5 p.m. last night, right? So that's only 24 hours ago. The models have changed pretty significantly since then. So we're here to, only to communicate that information to you guys. So stay tuned. We'll be getting into this snowfall amounts, here in just a little bit. Also, we're going to be looking at rainfall amounts because I'm a little bit concerned down here in the southeast for flooding as well. But But yeah, when I show the snowfall amounts, just remind me, Lady J, and I will definitely do a city forecast for you. But yeah, so down here in the southeast, we're gonna start to see some thunderstorms start to pop up over here in Louisiana and Mississippi. This is either going to happen as its own singular line here, or we're going to have multiple little line segments move throughout the southeast. But at this time, our surface-based instability is still a little bit on the weak side. You can't completely rule out severe weather at around 8 a.m., but it's in a very, very low chance. As we are in the morning hours, the main thing we are expecting is heavy rain, some thunderstorms, especially over here south of Shreveport and then just to the west of Jacksonville, and maybe even some thunderstorms happening up here in northern Alabama and Georgia, with maybe another one or two possible, maybe a little bit out in front of this initial line as we move throughout the morning hours here. So let me come back over to our precipitation type. You need a snow day. Well, I hope it happens for you because as you can see, there's still going to be some decent snow coming, especially as we move into 11 a.m., 12 p.m. This is when we're going to start to see some of that heavier snow start to move out of Kansas, out of Nebraska, and now more into Iowa, southern Iowa. Still lighter snow there on the northern side, moving up into Minnesota and also northern Wisconsin. But a decent little heavy band is going to be setting up here in northern Missouri, moving all the way up into central and northern Illinois. So, there is going to be some widespread heavier snow. It's just not going to last as long, and it's not going to be as heavy as we were expecting before. But we'll definitely go over those changes. Now, south of that snow line, though, pretty much anywhere from, not most of, but a little area over here near St. Louis, south of St. Louis, there's going to be some pretty heavy freezing rain that is definitely going to be causing some problems, turning those roads into ice skating rinks. So please be careful. A little bit of sleet to the north of that, but for the most part, for central Ohio, going all the way up into Pennsylvania and also over here into kind of southern Pennsylvania, in central Pennsylvania, it looks like we might have a little bit more of a warm nose, a little bit further up above our heads than, near the surface. A little bit of warm air is going to be flying over you guys. Now, we were looking at the models yesterday. It looked like we could actually get a decent snow still for eastern Pennsylvania going into New England, but it looks like that warm nose might upset that a little bit. Most of that heavier precipitation might be falling as freezing rain and sleet instead of snow. So there's still going to be some snow possible, but it's probably not going to be as much accumulation as we were talking about yesterday. It seems like, especially with this storm, we're getting downgrades all across the board, which honestly doesn't surprise me. We've been talking about in some of our forecasts how unreliable February forecasts has been this year. That's why I haven't even been touching the long term, because I know that the model's going to change pretty significantly. But we'll give you guys the updated snowfall totals. But moving into around 4 p.m. here, this is when the snow is really going to be heaviest here for Michigan. We're going to still see some moderate snowfall possible over there in northern Illinois, but moving our attention a little bit further down to the south and east, this is about the time where we're really going to start to see our instability start to build up here. Now, keep in mind, the NAM is, it's pretty similar to the HRRR. It has some different scenarios in terms of where our convection fire, but overall, it is in this area here, wherever we have these light greens. It's a lot of storm food that's going to be out in front of these storms. It is certainly going to be enough instability to feed these storms, to allow them to mature potentially, and that's going to lead to some thunderstorms and potentially tornadic thunderstorms as we move throughout the day. We come over here to our upper level jet, still pretty strong here, not the strongest you've ever seen. It's definitely not going to be a tornado outbreak tomorrow, but we're going to have a large area that needs to be watching out for some tornadoes from Louisiana through southern Mississippi into southern and central Alabama, also including parts of Florida. So that lower level jet is also picking up as we move into around 4 p.m. tomorrow. You can see on our estimated radar here that we're not really seeing too much convection. Now, this is one of the big differences between the NAM and the HRRR. The HRRR has a couple more waves moving through this area, which would potentially put a damper on the tornado risk if it, scrapes over that storm food too much and doesn't leave enough storm food for the, the increased of danger of the environment that is going to be evolving throughout the afternoon and into the nighttime. But, if it's less convection in the morning, we could have, still somewhat of a dangerous day ahead down here in the southeast. And it's going to be starting right around 4 p.m. When we can expect, at least some stronger thunderstorms to develop here. I do want to see if we at least have the HRRR in range of the beginning of this, even with the lack of loading that the Radar Mega is doing. Because I want to be able to show you guys just how it could be a little bit different. So here on the HRRR, that boundary, that cold front boundary, moves in a little bit further to the south there. And you can see that we have a lot more showers and thunderstorms kind of out in front of our leading area. At 9 a.m., a decent amount of heavy rain moving into Jackson and Birmingham. That's a little bit different than what the NAM is showing. And then as we move into 3 p.m., when we start to get some of that instability build up, you can see that we have a couple little short waves here. We got one back here, another one kind of moving through Alabama at 3 p.m. And as you can see, that's a lot different than what the NAM showed. The NAM had thunderstorms mainly up here, mainly back here. So agreement on this portion of the storm, but the HRRR is a little bit more convection out in front of it. And that's going to be potentially either some severe weather potential or some tornado potential a little bit earlier than what the NAM is saying, because the NAM out in this region is almost completely free of any organized convection. So just know there are some differences here in timing. It seems like the main disparity is going to be, whether or not we get a little bit earlier severe weather into central and southern Alabama, which might be good technically, because the environment's not going to be as primed when this is moving through. If we come over to our instability here, just show you guys this really quick. Our surface base cape, you can see that there's a decent amount of instability out in front of this portion of the storm. But as we go into our lower and upper level winds, you can see they're not as strong. All right. We're really expecting our lower level and upper level winds to increase is going to be throughout the later portion of the afternoon and evening, what's associated with this wave back here. And this will technically bring the boundary a little bit further to the south. This is correct, where some of our tornadoes can happen. So definitely got to keep an eye on these different scenarios. I still think we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for the HRRR and NAM hopefully to come into a little bit of a better agreement. NWS Chicago says lake effect snow may add to the snow totals, but that does not mean they will issue winter storm warnings for any part of our CWA. Okay, thank you. Saturday looks more linear as of now, but too far out to make any yeah, I really don't feel comfortable talking too deeply about Saturday. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys understood that there's going to be differences here in how this southern event could evolve. But unfortunately, we can't. I mean, we're how far are we? Yeah, I mean, we're at the end of this model run here. So any of these cells, we'll have to watch out for a small tornado potentially a little bit earlier than what the NAM is saying. That's just pretty much the overall statement that I'm trying to say and the differences between the two models. So let's kind of come back over to here and continue our timeline on the NAM model. All right, so moving into around 6 p.m., 8 p.m., that's going to be the time where we're going to start to see some bouts of heavier snow here for eastern Illinois, moving into northern Indiana. Also, most of Michigan is going to be getting in on some heavier snow at around this time. Still a decent portion here of some freezing rain, really just to the east of St. Louis, going up into northern Indianapolis, Fort Wayne. This is going to be some potentially pretty heavy freezing rain, so it's definitely going to cause some ice accumulations pretty quickly there. Traveling will get a little bit dangerous in some of these bigger cities, especially because there's going to be a lot of people on the road potentially. I mean, for some reason that there's a disconnect, and it's an understandable disconnect because this doesn't fall as ice, it falls as rain. So it's hard for just your average person to go out, see the rain, and not be able to connect the dots if they haven't been watching a forecast. And so it's going to be kind of dangerous. But you're here, right? So if you live in these areas like Toledo, Fort Wayne, north of Indianapolis, you need to be watching out for some very dangerous driving conditions. Also, coming over here into Pennsylvania near Rochester as well, we're going to have a lot of freezing rain potential over here as well. Over here near I-80 could be dangerous to travel in between State College and Sandy. Also over there near St. Mary's, Bradford, Olean could get some decent accumulation there, enough to potentially cause some travel issues. A lot of sleet possible over here for most of Pennsylvania, going from Harrisburg to Scranton, Ithaca, and Auburn, North Greece. Keep in mind, although a warm nose is forecasted today, if that warm nose is a little bit cooler than what's forecasted here, a lot of this sleet is going to fall as snow. So just keep that in mind. Your snow chances aren't completely screwed over here, but we are getting some agreement here that the warm nose is going to be present. So just keep that in mind. This scenario is definitely very possible as this moisture and rain starts to move up into your area. So this is at around 8 p.m. Down here, further to the south, we have our severe weather threat still continuing here in my opinion, intensify. We have plenty of instability here, according to the NAM. Another big difference here between the NAM and the HRRR is as we move into the nighttime periods, the instability is a little bit further up to the north, so bringing the tornado potential a little bit further to the north, and that's also, kind of in line with what the SPC is saying about this storm. But as you can see, the lower level winds, there's certainly some there. All right, they're not quite increasing, and they're not quite super dangerous. I still don't think we're really talking about a tornado outbreak here. We could definitely get a couple tornadoes, or pretty close to a tornado outbreak, but it really doesn't seem like the most locked and loaded environment. And you can definitely still tell here on the NAM, it appears to be underestimating the convective ability of these storms in comparison to the HRRR. Both of these scenarios are I wouldn't say equally likely. I think that the HRRR is going to be a little bit more accurate for some of the convection. So we're probably going to see a lot more widespread convection, but that area, we're going to have our frontal boundary right here, and we'll be watching out for prefrontal supercells over here into southern Mississippi, going into Alabama as well. So the environment is there, the ingredients are there for some severe weather still as we go into 8 p.m. down here in the southeast. Let's hop back over to our precipitation type and continue to move this forward. So continuing to push this forward, you can see as we move into 12 a.m. on the 13th, we're going to start to see most of the snow done for a lot of folks. We're going to start to see, over here just to the north of Detroit, eastern Michigan is going to be getting in on some heavier snow. Also, some heavier snow is going to be picking up in some of the higher elevations over here into northern New Jersey. Not New Jersey, northern New York, most of Vermont, almost all of New Hampshire, northern Massachusetts, and you can see by 12 a.m. that snow is starting to push over here into Maine, with still a lot of sleet and freezing rain hanging on there. And then still over here near Detroit, London, Toledo, Fort Wayne, Muncie, Indianapolis, still some freezing rain ongoing there. So we're still watching out for that potential as we move into 12 a.m. And then down here in the south, let's check to see just how our severe weather threat is doing down here. So yeah, still some chances for some severe weather near the Birmingham area, but as it moves, as we go into the later night portions, we're going to see our instability kind of get sapped first on the northern portion of this line, and with still most of our severe weather threat possible there a little bit further down to the south. You can see that 850 millibar jet though is starting to increase, so that SRH is going to start to, that storm relative helicity, that buoyancy is going to be added over that cape. So I still think tornadoes will certainly be possible if the NAM is correct here, all the way up into Birmingham and maybe into like the Gadsden area, and then further down to the south all the way to the coast. As we go into the overnight periods, this is when our lower level jet is going to be the strongest here on our models. And then you can see that upper level wind is following suit with that as well. And you can see we have a pretty organized line of thunderstorms as we move into 12 a.m., extending all the way from Louisiana up into northern Alabama. So, I think this is still going to be a dangerous period in this storm's life cycle here. So I really do think, folks in Alabama should be weather aware on this storm threat as well. But it's going to be more of an overnight event, especially as you go into southern Alabama near Montgomery and Birmingham, also Mobile, New Orleans, overnight event. Everyone before that is most likely going to be a nighttime event or an evening event. All right, let's come back over here to our precipitation type and bring this forward just a little bit more, another 3 to 4 hours here in the future. So yeah, 3 to 4 hours into the future here, you can see most of our snow is moved out of everywhere. The only people that should be still getting snow at around the 13th at 3 a.m. is going to be eastern Michigan and the Northeast. Still some freezing rain hanging on here in the Ohio Valley, but that's really starting to quit. Maybe a quick shot of snow there for Fort Wayne, Indianapolis there, but it's most likely not going to be accumulating snow. Still kind of a freezing rain mess for Albany and Utica. Also over here near Scranton, southern Massachusetts could be getting some freezing rain and some dangerous driving conditions. And really the main story that's going to be ongoing is still some potential here for some thunderstorms and severe weather. But as you can see, as we move into the overnight periods at around 3 a.m., this is when we're really going to start to see that severe weather threat start to go down. Our instability is going to start dropping. Our upper level winds though are still going to be strong, so there's still going to be a small tornado risk As we move into the 13th early morning, you can still see we have some organized supercells potentially embedded in this line as it approaches Montgomery. But I think further up to the north near Atlanta is going to be hard to see a tornado or any severe weather at this point, as that instability is really drying up there. But really, anywhere Montgomery and down, as this line progresses to the east, is what we're going to be focused on. And as you can see, as this moves into around 7 a.m., our line almost completely disintegrates here, and it just doesn't make it all the way into South Carolina. But that's pretty much our first two storms, the timing, kind of the dynamics behind all of it. There. And then we could also have some lake effect snow, by the way, on the backside of this. Let's go over that as well. We're not completely done just yet. So yeah, some lake effect snow is still going to be possible over there near Michigan, also, into, western New York as we go into the future. Potentially some snow squalls existing on the back of this. Is going to be very hit or miss where these end up going. But overall, if you didn't get any snow out of this first shot, you might see a little bit on the backside with some lake effect snow. But it's not going to be anything super impactful like we have been dealing with some of our previous lake effect snow events. So let's go ahead and look at our snow forecasts here. So this is kind of the biggest difference that we're going to have. So be prepared because there are some changes here to our snowfall totals. Now, the NAM is definitely one of our more bullish models now. We'll be looking at a couple of other model outputs here. Just completely ignore what's happening over here. The NAM is inaccurate in that area, but I think it's handling this portion of the storm okay. It's a little bit bullish, but we'll compare and contrast and give you guys a range. Over here in Nebraska, in Kansas, we're talking about anywhere from 2 to 3 inches. Some isolated spots, though, of 4 to 6 inches are still possible, but it's going to be few and far in between. The most I would expect is anywhere from 3 to 4 inches in most of this zone. And if you get lucky, you're going to get 6 inches and maybe a little bit above that. With some of our lake effect snow on the backside, we could still see some decent accumulations up here into eastern Michigan. But as you can see, we've gotten a pretty big downtrend, especially here for parts of Kansas and also Nebraska. We had a big strip here of 6 to 8 inches going all the way up into Chicago, into Michigan yesterday, but today it's looking a lot less. And this actually is one of our more bullish models. All right, so you might be thinking, wow, we just took a big hit there. Well, wait until you see the euro. The euro is a very interesting scenario, if I have to say. There, and then I want to switch this over to this. Yeah, there we go. And this over to the same thing, right? Yeah, okay. All right, so this is the euro model run. And as you can see, 3 to 4 inches across this entire area with really no chance for 6 inches above for anybody until you start to get close to Chicago and also southern Michigan. So as you can see, we have had quite the epic downtrend here for a lot of folks. Still hanging on, though, for 10 to 12 inches over here in a small strip for parts of southern West Virginia, going into central Virginia, kind of central northern Virginia. Also, that tracks into parts of Maryland and Delaware as well, with that snow really not making it that far north. And as you can see here on the euro, our snow hole has gotten quite big. It's been growing over time. And yeah, honestly, this isn't surprising to me. Our models have been changing and downgrading up to almost every single event that we've been going toward, or that we've had in February. It's been a pretty interesting trend that has continued to be the case. So that's why you should be aware of people, shouting at the top of their lungs, especially right now. Sometimes we can get some more consistency in the long range, but that has not been the case for February. January was a little bit easier for snow forecasting, just given the consistency with some of our models and the trends that could set up. But February has just been a real mixed bag. Let me tell you what. For Missouri, maybe 2 to 4 inches possible there in northern Missouri. Maybe 3 to 4 inches there in northern Indiana, also into parts of Illinois as well. So some big changes there for sure. If we come over here to our GFS model, you can see that, kind of a similar scenario here on our first couple of storms that come through this area, 4 to 5 inches across this entire region. So if you've gotten a snow forecast, you're probably still going to see snow. It's just going to be less snow. All right. I would take at least 2 to 3 inches off of your snowfall totals, as this is not just an anomaly in one model. This is a new trend that showed up on pretty much all of the models here overnight going into the morning hours. This is going to be a very average snowstorm, or even a weak snowstorm for most folks out there. there. It seems like a little bit more snow was possible, but hey, that's just how Mother Nature goes. That's just how our weather models go. Now, there could be some good news. We have another storm coming in after this that could potentially bring some more snow totals, but that's obviously going to change as we get closer, kind of like this last one did, and that's going to be on top of the snow we already saw, mainly lakes. We'll talk about that more in detail after we get tomorrow's severe weather out of our hands, and we're in a little bit more range of accuracy for that. But the last little thing I want to talk about here, let's come back over to our main model, and then we'll come over here to our GFS model. And we'll also talk about our severe weather as well in terms of our risks. Where's the risks at? What are they, and all of that. So this is our tornado risk for tomorrow. So this is tomorrow. And that was the severe weather potential we've been talking about. And as you can see, kind of in the same areas we've been talking about needing to be watching out is what is highlighted here. Is pretty darn obvious in the models. Jackson, Birmingham, Montgomery, potentially Atlanta. It's going to be hard for them to get up there, but there could be a small chance. They might shave off a little bit of this on the back end if we get some agreement there. Columbus, Mobile, Pensacola, Gulfport, New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi, Hattiesburg, Macomb, Laurel, as well Saraland, down there near Mobile are all going to be in that 2 out of 5 for severe weather. Also, a marginal risk has been issued for parts of Texas, going into Louisiana, also into parts of Florida and Georgia, northern Alabama. Our tornado risk is we got a pretty large 5% area for tornadoes. That's going to be in the same area as that slight risk. That's one of the main reasons why we had a slight risk issued. Also, because of our damaging wind threat in the yellow in the same areas that we just called out for the slight risk. But the tornado risk, if you're in that marginal risk, you also have a 2% chance for tornadoes going into more of the later portions as we go further to the east, as we just went over the timing quite extensively here. But our hail risk, believe it or not, is non-existent. It does not exist. There is no hail threat, but I wouldn't rule out some smaller hail. This is mainly a hail threat for some large hail of order over a quarter size and higher. But yeah, so there's our severe weather threat. Going into day 3, there is no severe weather threat, but I will say I would not be surprised if as we got closer, we got a severe weather threat issued for the southern mode of these storms, because it does seem like there might still be a little bit of instability hanging around as we go into the 13th there as well. So that is our short-term areas with, some severe weather potential that we have, but let's kind of look at the long-term here just briefly, as we've got another threat for severe weather going to be coming in after these 2 storms with our third storm. I don't really want to talk about this one too much in detail because it is still a little bit uncertainty, but the storm actually happening is definitely there. Especially with that, that severe weather potential. Man, it's crazy. People were talking about how this next snowstorm is going to be the biggest snowstorm ever, and as you can see, it is downtrended quite significantly. Like all the storms have this month, not really a big, what's the word I'm looking for? Surprise there. But there's still going to be some snow possible up there in the Ohio Valley and going into the Northeast. So we're still watching out for that potential. But as we move into the afternoon hours of the 15th, that's when we're going to start to see a little bit more snow on that northern side. And also another severe weather threat, potentially a more potent severe weather threat than what we're going to be experiencing here. You can see we have an area here of some instability from southern Texas going through Louisiana, Mississippi, potentially also pulling up into parts of Tennessee as well. And then in our lower level winds, a little bit stronger than this other event that's going to be coming in tomorrow. And then our upper level winds are going to be stronger as well. Trough orientation is going to be a little bit weird on this storm. We're most likely talking, at least what the models are saying right now, some linear storms with the potential for some prefrontals, but it's not going to be, this isn't going to be like, at least what the models are saying right now is it's not going to be, some blockbuster event, but, things could change as we get closer. We're still a little bit far out. We're talking about the 15th here. So things could definitely change, but the ingredients are there. The agreement is forming that a dangerous day or 2 of severe weather could be possible. So let's go ahead. Move that pink down about 25 miles. What pink? Yeah, tornado just hit Pensacola. Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that at the beginning. Yeah, we have a damage report over here from that tornado. Potentially roofs were ripped off, buildings and power lines knocked down. Well, I'll go check back in with those storms again once I get done with this. But yeah, so severe weather potential is going to be there. We're going to have a frontal boundary kind of move through this area with that instability. And we could see kind of the same areas pick up some severe weather again with our next storm here. If we come over to our severe weather risk for this kind of day, you can see that we already have a slight risk out in this area, kind of the same areas, except it's extended a little bit further up to the north. So areas like Nashville, Huntsville, Western Atlanta, Fayette, Tuscaloosa, Montgomery, Tupelo, Meridian, Jackson, Gulfport, Monroe, Shreveport, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Eastern Texas all have to be watching out for the potential for some severe weather. But I would definitely give it at least another 2 days before we really start nailing down what this storm is going to be capable of. As the models, the fact that the snow has been changing so much on the models, what that means is that also the low pressures have been changing, and how this low pressure system is oriented, how it interacts with the moisture, how much instability it has out in front of it is going to be a pretty big determination on whether or not we actually see anything, elevated in terms of danger down there. But it definitely seems like severe weather is certainly possible. Is some SIG damage? Yeah, it's impossible to tell if the damage was significant just by looking at photos. But it does seem like some roofs could have been damaged. That's what I've heard. We still have a little bit of rotation down here, but it's not overly concerning at this moment. A little bit of rotation back over here in Mississippi as well, near Waynesboro. Little area there north and east of Winchester. Let me see if that's side lobe contamination. Yeah, we did have some rotating supercells down here, but it does seem like those have since kind of calmed down. Areas like Tennessee and Asheville, look at high rainfall rates. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me on that. I did want to talk about the total rainfall potential as well over the next 5 days. Over to precipitation. Oh no, total precipitation. There it is. So yeah, the bullseye area. I think we're gonna have isolated amounts much higher than what the GFS is saying here. But Nashville, northern Georgia, northern Alabama, central Mississippi, northern Mississippi, also parts of North Carolina and the Appalachian Mountains, especially some of those areas hit by Helene, are going to have to watch out for some elevated rainfall. Now, does that mean guaranteed flooding? No, it does not. But, if your infrastructure, especially out over here near where Helene hit, is still, not completely rebuilt yet in terms of, the bridges, all that kind of stuff, or maybe you did get a new bridge, but it's one of those, temporary bridges. I would definitely be pretty aware in some of these areas for sure. A lot of this rain we're going to continue to see pile up over here into central Mississippi, northern Alabama, moving into Tennessee. That could cause some flooding as well. So folks need to do be watching out for some flooding. Yeah, I already saw the video, Sanja, but I do appreciate. Or no, I think I saw a photo of it. Let me see the video. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, a video has been posted. Oh yeah, that was a definite tornado. Wow. It is wild. I don't even think that was warned. I just posted. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I just posted the video in the chat. Does anybody have any questions in terms of the snow? I'm sure people are more just disappointed. Freezing rain still possible for the northeast Oklahoma tomorrow. Let me check. NAM 3K. We'll bring up our latest freezing rain forecast here. Yeah, freezing rain is definitely still a possibility. It's going to be earlier in the event for sure. But yeah, over there near Oklahoma City, in Tulsa and Nowata, that's kind of the main areas we're focused here on in Oklahoma. This is weather related. Also, dismantle the NOAA or do budget cuts. What are my thoughts? That's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Those are my thoughts. Don't mess with the NOAA, or you're gonna piss off one of the most easily to piss off weather communities in the world. Weather. Actually, if that happens, we're gonna organize a protest. Weather for 1313452 St. Jonesville. Oh, dang it, wrong one. 13452 St. Johnsville up here into New York. Yeah, we're watching out for some freezing rain mainly for you guys. You could get some small areas of snow and sleet, but your main concern is going to be some dangerous driving conditions in this area. 6 inches is never enough for snow. Oh, gross. Wetumpka, Alabama. I guess you're talking about the severe weather threat. So day 2 for Wetumpka. Let me see where Wetumpka is. Wetumpka, Alabama. So yeah, you get a slight risk. That's a 5% chance for tornadoes and a 15% chance for some damaging winds. Check on Alabama storms. Sure, we can look at Alabama storms really quick. Our kind of our most concerning area in terms of like heavy thunderstorm possibilities is over here in this area. We actually have a couple of rotating supercells embedded in this line. Now, none of them are looking like 100% tornado potential, but there is a little bit of an elevated risk for some of these storms for tornadoes. I wouldn't completely rule it out. Even got a little bit of a rotating supercell south and west of Selma uh, there. So, the highest chance, though, of seeing something here with these storms south of Gadsden, they will probably go into Montgomery eventually, is going to be rain and thunder. Can't completely rule out the chance for some storms trying to spin up a little bit. Upgrades day 3 to a moderate risk for portions of Southern California. All right, thank you. Not sure how I feel about the NOAA situation. Doesn't really sound good because the NOAA actually needs more money. Yeah. No, I mean, they I'm not sure if they've done it yet, but there was rumors at least going around that they were going to fire 50% of the NOAA staff, which, talk about short staff and seeing problems. We had an EF3 tornado in a short staffed uh, NWS. I forget where it was. It was I think it was either near Nebraska or Kansas. I forget which exact city it was. And due to the understaffed, they didn't even catch it until way too late. And so, yeah, we need like more people working, and more radars, not less. Yeah, Whitman. Yeah, that one. Glen, Flora, Wisconsin for the snow in the coming days. Yeah, let me go check that out for you. Glen, Flora, Wisconsin. Yeah, that's in northern Wisconsin there. We'll go do the National Forecast Database, unless it's like way off. They should have revised their numbers. And they still haven't revised their numbers. This is technically possible, but I think this is on the higher end, way on our higher end of our range, especially giving our latest model runs out here. But this is probably pretty accurate. Anywhere from like an inch or two is possible there. Wolf City, Texas is good for severe weather. I think for all of our events here. Wait, I have to switch back over. Yeah, Wolf City, Texas is good for all of our events. You might get placed potentially. No, you probably won't even. I guess there's a small chance you'll be placed in a marginal risk if it extends out to the west a little bit more, but still a little bit too early to be talking about that. The stream link says go. That's interesting. Thank you, Carla Jean, for subscribing. Do I think Tennessee might get a mix of snow and rain? No. I saw a thumbnail today on YouTube with snow all the way down into Alabama. I don't know why people keep lying. You know, it kind of sucks because like the best, in order to be the best weather YouTube man, you know, you just gotta lie the most. I ain't gonna do none of that. No, we're not expecting a mix for Tennessee right now. Thank you for what you do. Weather outlook for 71601. Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Yeah, you guys are going to be right on the line of these severe weather threats. Yeah, you're going to be getting thunderstorms tomorrow potentially again, and you'll probably be in a marginal risk unless we get. There have been some models that have been a little bit slower with our initial ejection of this storm. If that does happen, you know, we could get a little bit of a western shift. So you might be putting it to a slight risk eventually. So, but it's still a little bit too early to kind of break down what you can all see there and the timing and all of that. When is Springfield, Missouri going to get the worst of this storm? Just curious. Springfield, Missouri is up here. Oh, actually, it's down. Is there a northern Springfield, Missouri? No, I guess it's just this one to the south. I think Springfield. We'll check out the NAM. See what the latest is. We'll go to the precipitation type for Springfield. So yeah, a little bit of snow is going to be possible. Potentially, as we go into tomorrow morning, it appears. No, not tomorrow morning. That was this morning. Yeah, some freezing rain going into tomorrow morning. Heaviest freezing rain though at around 8 to 9 a.m. and then maybe some light snow on the backside. For snow, it kind of looks like you guys, your heaviest snow will probably be around 7 p.m., but it'll probably be pretty brief. Not expecting much accumulation for you. Again, we got a big downgrade on a lot of our models. Let me see what some of these other models. Yeah, you might be able to get like maybe a dusting to an inch if you're lucky. What would be playing like in Peoria, Illinois? What do you mean? Any freezing rain expected in Mars, Pennsylvania? Yeah, I think so. I think Mars, Pennsylvania is in Western Pennsylvania. Let me see. Mars, Pennsylvania. Yeah, so looks like you know, as early as like 8 a.m. could be some light snow. Also some little bits of here and there freezing rain, but it's really going to start to pick up around 2 and 3 p.m. And could continue all the way until about 6 p.m. before it mainly transitions into rain. And then maybe you could get some backside snow at around 10 a.m. on the 13th, you know, from the lake effect, and then just because of a little bit of maybe some snow squalls as well. Ogden. Ogden does have some snow coming. It does have some snow coming. That's going to be from our next storm system after these two. So you're going to kind of be the canary in the coal mine of what's going to be possible later down the line with this guy. But yeah, some pretty heavy snow could be possible going into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 p.m. That's as far as this model goes out, and really as far as I'm willing to, you know. But there could be some decent accumulation there, even with this initial wave, which is not even showing the whole event. Over there near Ogden could already have, you know, 1 to 2 inches on the ground by 6 p.m. on the 13th. And more will definitely be coming. All right, everybody. That's going to be it for me on this forecast. I do appreciate you guys tuning in, of course. And I do hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Um, thank you guys. If you've tuned in, like the stream or donated, it does help out the stream a lot. And I hope all of you guys stay safe. We'll be live tomorrow. Not only to cover the snow, we'll be covering the snow. So the snow, let me get you guys on board for the schedule here. So the snow's really going to get started as we move into the early morning hours. I won't be live for that. Most likely, I might go live, maybe like 9, 10 a.m. for parts of Missouri going up into Illinois if it's looking like I need to. But if the models are still saying 2 to 4 inches, 6 inches, and we haven't had any snowfall reports to kind of, counteract that expectation, I probably won't go live for the snow, but I'm definitely going to be monitoring the severe weather out there, going into the nighttime hours. And, I think I'm going to go to bed a little bit later because I'm kind of expecting this to be able to last all the way to 3 a.m. potentially. So be watching out for that potential. And if it looks like it's going to get bad, we'll go live for that. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for tuning in, Legend Thanos, and yeah, have a good rest of your evening, guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully that severe weather threat falls apart. You don't have to see me at all, and yeah, but yeah, see you guys later.